It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories, translated into English, every weeknight. The Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, held two meetings with his allies and the former Prime Minister, Salih Berisha, today. Sources say that the proposals to come out of the crisis and to enter the elections have been on focus with the discussions at the meetings the DP chairman held. In the period of the same time, the U.S. ambassador, Donald Lu, held a meeting with Prime Minister Edi Rama, which lasted around an hour. It is believed that the package the German negotiator, David McAllister, proposed to the parties was the point of discussion. Yesterday, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for European and Eurasian Affairs, Hoyt Brian Yee, held meetings with political leaders and asked them to accept the McAllister package in order to find a solution to the political crisis. Sources from the negotiations say that the parties are close to reaching an agreement, which will conclude the McAllister package and the Prime Minister's proposals made at the meetings held with the DP chairman at the President's office a few weeks ago. Sources say that the parties are currently discussing two important issues, such as the approval of vetting and the election date. It has been learned that the Prime Minister has accepted electronic identification. Regarding the election date, it is known that the parties are close to reaching an agreement to hold the elections in July. The Democratic Party has requested that the elections be held in September, but the Prime Minister has asked that the elections not be held later than July 23rd. The sources are optimistic that the parties will reach an agreement. The coming hours are vital, and an agreement between the parties is expected to be reached in the next few hours. The chairman of the Agrarian Party, Agron Duka, has expressed his conviction that there will be a postponement of the election date. During the meeting of the Assembly of the Agrarian Party, Mr. Duka emphasized that the important thing is that the elections are free and fair, saying, "The package David McAllister proposed and the Prime Minister's proposals were reviewed. I have insisted, and I think the parties have agreed, that there is no sense to discuss electronic voting, as the election date has been already set and a reasonable postponement is being asked. We cannot ask for a postponement of elections by a year. The most important thing is that it seems like an agreement is about to be reached. I think an optimal election date will be set. I don't know whether the election date will be for 2 months or 6 months, but the important thing is that it will find us united." During the Assembly of the Agrarian Party, the members agreed to stand by the opposition's side in order for the country to have free and fair elections. Even though the judicial reform received 140 votes in favor, it is facing with difficulties for implementation. The chairwoman of the Commission of Laws, Vasilika Husi, has accused a part of the judges and prosecutors of resisting the reform's implementation. During a meeting where the challenges the judicial reform is facing with, the chairwoman of the Laws Commission has expressed her reservations for the Constitutional Court, saying that it has hampered the implementation of the judicial reform with some decisions it has made, saying, "There is a lot of resistance, as there is a huge need for change. A part of the judges and prosecutors have made all the efforts to stop the implementation of the reform." Meanwhile, the director of the magistrate school said that with the judicial reform, all judges and prosecutors will finish the magistrate school, stating, "Judges and prosecutors will have not finished the magistrate school will no longer be in the justice system. If the judges do not pass the test, they will attend another year at the School of Magistrates in order to be able to exercise their profession. Vetting will determine who will stay at the justice system, selecting the judges and prosecutors." The People's Advocate also highlighted the need for the implementation of the judicial reform. The commissioner said that 400 complaints were filed at their office in a year against the judicial system, declared, 400 complaints have been filed during the past year against judges and prosecutors who delayed judicial processes or failed to properly administer the judicial decisions. The judges are still far from the standards of the European Union. The People's Advocate also added that the institution is facing with difficulties to fulfill the vacancies at the Supreme Judicial Council and Supreme Prosecutions Council. Another concern was raised for the Constitutional Court, which is not functioning at full capacity. The Constitutional Court should have 9 members, but there is a vacancy, and the mandate of 2 members has already finished. During a meeting with the Socialist Movement for Integration supporters in Vlore, where the candidates for MPs were presented, the Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta emphasized that the youth should take the politics in their hands in Albania, saying, "We should trust in the youth, in their responsibility and in their seriousness. We should help them realize their dreams. The biggest power of the nation is the dreams of the youth. There is only one solution: that Albanian youth take the politics in their hands and make Albania better, more tolerant and more cooperative." Meanwhile, the main Socialist Movement for Integration candidate for MP in Vlore called on the youth not to abandon Albania. During the presentation of the SMI's candidates in Vlore, 600 membership cards were distributed to the new members of the Socialist Movement for Integration. During a meeting with the voters for the first time in Administrative Unit Number 5, the chairman of the Socialist Party for Tirana, Saimir Tahiri, Tirana's Mayor Erion Beliaj, and Socialist MP Pandeli Majko, appealed to the youth to massively participate in elections in order to remove the generation of the old politics once and for all. Mr. Tahiri had this to say: "Albania needs people who give their strength to their idea. Albania does not need those who want to take Albania hostage. Albania needs those who get united on June 18th with us, with the Socialist Party, with you, and with the youth." Meanwhile, the mayor said that the initiated investments can continue only with the Socialist Party in government, and for this reason, he asked the youth to vote on June 18th. The Socialist MP Pandeli Majko said that the statements of the internationals are a slap for the Democratic Party, not for Albania, declaring, "Albania will not be seen as a normal state when the opposition makes such a resistance, when it takes such adventure, declaring that it will not enter elections. But it is also unprecedented when the internationals come and say that we will recognize the elections, even if the Democratic Party does not enter the elections." In the meetings with the Socialist Party supporters, the leaders of the Socialist campaign highlighted that a massive participation in the June 18th elections would guarantee the continuation of reforms and investments. A young girl, Blerta Pepa, has died in the early hours of this morning after a surgical intervention. The 15-year-old girl went through the surgical intervention because of an injury to the ligament in her knee during physical education in school. The notification for the death of the girl was made by Tirana police, which say that the anesthesiologist who treated Miss Pepa attempted suicide after her death. The family members of the anesthesiologist say that he suffered a heart attack because of the shock he suffered after the death of the girl. The doctor is now in critical condition, fighting for his life. The parents of the young girl have rejected the case of Tirana's police, claiming that more anesthesia than necessary was injected into their daughter. The event has happened in a private hospital in the capital. The medical staff that has assisted in the medical intervention has been questioned by Tirana's police in order to clarify the circumstances of the event and find out the actual cause of the death. The young girl was known to the Albanian public as she has participated in a music competition. The real cause of the death of the 15-year-old girl will be revealed after an autopsy before her burial tomorrow. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Cosmo K, and on behalf of Our News, thank you and good night.